Morning and welcome to our weekly App State football press conference with head coach Sean Clark. Mountaineers are headed to East Carolina this Saturday at 4 o'clock on ESPNU. Coach Clark will give us an opening statement, and then we'll take questions from the media.
Good morning. Again, just not pleased with our performance Saturday versus a very good Clemson team. That's not what we want to be or who we are, but we had a chance to come back yesterday, review the film, make corrections, to move on. And we have a very good East Carolina team. We're going to Greenville to play a very good East Carolina football team. Got a lot of respect for Coach Houston. And they'll take our very best to and do everything we possibly can to have a chance to win this Saturday.
David Ware, 24/7 Sports. Sean, as you guys went back and reviewed film, specifically defensive film, you know, Clemson's got obviously very talented players. How many of the breakaway scores that you guys saw were you able to kind of maybe circle back around and say, you know what, there's a correctable individual assignment issue that we can make that is going to limit that type of thing going forward?
Yes, so we have 9 explosive plays for 383 yards, and 8 of those were passes, and for 304 touchdowns, and 1 explosive run for 83 yards. And on the run, it was a bad fit. We didn't fit the gap the correct way, and then on the back end, on the long passes, it was not having your eyes in the correct spot. If you get caught looking in the backfield versus a talented team like Clemson, you're going to pay for it, and we paid for it. So we had to come back and get that corrected. It was an execution. It was execution, it wasn't effort. Our kids played hard the whole game, but again, we had to improve on the execution part of it to have a chance to succeed this week.
Flipping over to the offensive side of the ball, right around kind of that middle 8 stretch, you had a span where you scored points 4 of 5 possessions. What were the positives you can take away from what went on during that segment of the game that you can carry forward?
I thought we settled in a little bit. I thought our receivers made more contestant catches in that time frame. Again, some positive. We had 24 first downs Saturday night in Clemson versus a very good defense. So, again, we have the ability to move the ball. We have to do it more consistently versus very good football teams. And the margin of error is 0 when you're playing a team that plays man coverage, gets up in your face, and presses you all night long. So I thought we ran the ball well at times. Anderson Castle ran the ball. Haywood ran the ball good. So there are some positives, even though the score is not what we want it to be. And, again, we went there to win the football game, and that didn't happen. So, but, again, there are some positives. And I thought our D-line played well against the run for most of the game. Again, I thought our offensive line blocked well, protected Joey. The 1 sack we had kind of held the ball a little bit too long. It was a timing route, and he's got to get rid of the football. So there are some positive things to grow on. And, again, we have to flip the page right now. You can't make 1 bad loss become 2, and that's what we're striving for right now.
Moving on to ECU, obviously new offensive scheme in there, new play calling going on. Based on Saturday, I'm sure you guys are probably expecting them to test you with that post pattern and you know, test the integrity of the secondary. What are you seeing out of that new offense that is maybe different from what we saw last year when you played them?
Well, again, I think what you put on tape is what you are right now. So people are going to try to throw the long ball against us. We have to be able to defend it. So you look at East Carolina, their offense, they ran 97 plays last week versus Old Dominion. So they have some playmakers, got a great quarterback in Garcia. Their scheme is tough to defend. Their offensive coordinator came from Old Miss. So, again, that's a high-powered offense. So our offense has to protect our defense this week. We can't go 3 and out and let them have 97 plays. So we'll have to be very creative how we run our offense and make sure we stay on the field as long as we can.
David Rogers, High Country Sports. How might you elaborate a little bit more on Anderson Castle's performance? He was able to move the ball seemingly pretty well, much better than the other running backs.
Yeah, we have 4 good running backs, and this kind of game was probably more designed for Castle as far as getting the ball downhill. He has great speed. He's not elite as far as running back speed, but he can't get the ball downhill. He's a one-cut guy. And sometimes he had to be his own blocker, and he took on some defenders and got loose. And again, he's a tough, hard county. He knows what it means to wear the A. So, just I'm very impressed with Anderson throughout his whole career. Again, last year he was being injured most of the season last year, and he's gotten better week in and week out. So, again, we have to make sure we feature Anderson as much as we can.
Marvin Parker Jr., WLOS Asheville. What do you think your team learned from a sold-out Memorial Stadium down in Clemson that they can carry over to another rowdy environment in Greenville that's also been a decade or plus since they've played there?
Not as a great crowd at Clemson, but we're used to great crowds. Again, we didn't perform the way we wanted to perform. You can't sugarcoat it. It is what it is. You can't go up 66 points and only score 20. So, again, I don't think the crowd will affect us. Again, they have great fans down there, and it's a football school. And again, I like Craig as a coach Houston, what he's built there. Again, they've improved a lot from the last 2 years, and you can see that on tape right now.
I'm sure there were probably some difficult conversations from halftime to now with your team. What was the kind of message to fight for the second half in that halftime period against Clemson?
Yeah, you go to that halftime. We came in at halftime and said the score is what the score is, but we have to win the second half. And I thought our kids competed. We didn't lay down. They kept competing as hard as they could. And there were some shining moments in there versus a very good football team. And so, like I said earlier, you can't make one bad loss become two. We've seen that in college football throughout the first 2 weeks. And you can't read your own obituary in the paper. Right now, everyone thinks we're not very good. We don't believe that. Again, we had a bad day, but you have to make sure you move on and improve where you can improve.
Now, I've only looked at for ECU some of their offensive major stats, but their quarterback, Jake Garcia, has thrown 7 interceptions, but they're 2-0. So what makes them able to survive in chaos, if you will?
Well, they have a very good defense, and their coordinator, the defensive coordinator, does a great job of giving different looks. They have a lot of team speed on defense. They tackle well. In offense, I mean, you run 97 plays, you're going to have some bad moments in there as well. So again, they've overcame those turnovers. But again, it really starts with us. We have to do a great job in the back end, having clean eyes, and we have to make sure our offense protects our defense this week.
And then maybe it's something tactical on the field or maybe morale-based, but after such a blundering week, what do you need to see from your team, whether it be on the practice field or in the classroom or just something mentality-wise that assures you that this team's locked in heading into ECU?
Well, there's no question our players are locked in. Again, whenever you can put that game to bed as fast as you can, it's better for your program. Again, tough losses, those happen. That was a tough loss. But again, if you lose by 1 or lose by 100, it's still a loss. And we didn't go for that to happen. And I think it starts with the head coach working his way down through the coaches to make sure we permeate great vibes throughout the building this week. And again, our goal is to win the Sun Belt Championship, and all of our goals are Sun Belt Championship, and that's what we're looking forward to.
David Katzenmeyer, Appalachian Weekly News. You mentioned shining moments just a little bit ago. Were there any players that stood out to you with their personal performance against Clemson?
I thought our defensive line as a whole played well. There's some times where we have our gaps and didn't fit it just right. I think Darrell Farrar had a great game. Again, he's still a young player that hasn't played a lot of football here yet, but he has some shining moments. His speed really showed up on the offensive side of the ball. I thought our receivers play hard. We have to make more contestant catches in traffic versus very good opponents, and our offensive line has gotten better from week 1 to week 2. And so you look at Eli Wilson. I thought he's a kid that has some tough catches and some yards after the catch. But again, as a whole, we have a very good football team. It's not like we sat in here, we didn't play a Division III school and got beat. We played one of the best teams in the country. I mentioned this last week that I think Clemson is one of the best 4 in the country, and they got things corrected from the Georgia game to our game, and again, a very good football team. We tip their cap to them, but again, this is about us. We have to make sure we improve this week to have a chance to win versus East Carolina.
And nerves seem to play a little bit of a factor early on for Aguilar in this offense. Is there anything that you're looking towards and that you've learned to help mitigate that going forward, especially in a rowdy environment like ECU?
I don't think the nerves with Joey. If you know Joey well enough, you watch him practice, nothing really bothers him. Again, we had timing throws. We had to get rid of the ball quick. There's some throws that he would like to have back, just trying to make a play. So I don't think that crowd affected Joey. And again, that's a great experience to play at Death Valley, and it's going to be a great experience playing at East Carolina. So, but again, our team will be prepared for it. Again, we had a great practice yesterday. Today's our off day, and we're back Tuesday practicing.
Jordan Luker, Appalachian Weekly News. Sort of going off the nerves, did you think just the crowd and the atmosphere at Clemson affected not only the demeanor of the team, but just impacted your initial game plan?
No, I don't think so at all. I mean, once you get in the game, it is loud, but it is It's as quiet as well on the football field. You're so locked in. Our players, we didn't have any pre-snap penalties, I don't believe. But again, we have 86,000 people. It can get loud, but it's a great environment. We like playing those kind of environments. Again, it comes down to our performance, and that didn't work for us. We didn't perform well, and we understand that. We own that, and it's time to move on. And again, one bad loss is not going to hurt your season. So we have to make sure we regroup, get back everybody on the same page, circle the wagons, and go back to work.
Any other questions? We have one more.
David Rogers, High Country Sports. How do we come out of it health-wise, injury-wise, and so forth?
Good. We have some bangs and bruises that kids that should be back practicing on Tuesday. I'll give you an update on Tuesday. But right now, they were all in the treatment room yesterday and today, and all signs looking that everyone will be playing on Saturday.
Okay. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.